A quick disclaimer for YouTube, I do have Tourette's, so please excuse any swearing. Boom! In this week's episode, we have a jam-packed episode, pun intended.
I just got that.
We talk about how alive the small holding is feeling at the moment. We update you on the bees. The Musings of Jim is back this week and it is a much happier one than last week. And I also talk about the new coop and building this and some design choices. Boom.
As usual, we will update you in what's been happening in the garden, how the chicks from the incubator are coming along, and how we continue to pick more strawberries.
And make jam. Look at the size of the pigs have got. Absolutely massive. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jim.
I'm Lou.
And here on our small holding, it is really starting to feel alive. We've got birds coming in from Africa, the swallows, really cool. We've got missel thrushes starting to collect things to build their nests. There's bees and bugs everywhere, isn't there, really? It's really started to come alive.
Yeah, it's nice because, well, the spring flowers are all starting to fade, the bluebells are beginning to fade, and the next wave of life is starting to come through, isn't it? And we've had such nice weather for, I don't know, weeks now, isn't it?
But as well as with all nice and pretty things, there's always two sides to life, isn't there? And with the increase in life amongst the property, you get the increase in predators. And we unfortunately lost a chicken. I know you've seen some feathers in the intro, but it's one of our newest chickens, one of the Aquilegias, unfortunately. I was proper gutted. Typically, it's always the one that you would kind of want it to be the least. But we think it was a polecat. Got in through this hole here, and there's some droppings of whatever creature it was. As you can see there, you know, there were some droppings. I think they're polecat droppings, and this hole here that I have blocked up now, it looks pretty big, so I'm assuming it's a polecat.
They're in breeding season, aren't they?
Yeah, so they are more likely to take an animal, and she's a small one compared to, like, say, our Brahmas,
she's our
the
smallest
Aquilegias,
chicken, isn't she? Yeah. But it's odd because they kind of, in a way, they solve the rat problem, don't they? They really.
Polecats are good to have around because they will hunt rats and they take away a lot of pests. They're part of the ecosystem, but every so often they're going to take a chicken. It's not, unless we wanted to really fence off the whole area and dig deep down fence. We're just going to have to accept it every so often.
It's a big job to do that, isn't it? And then it's not flexible, whereas at the minute we've got
expensive as well.
Yeah,
price is a big contributing factor in that sort of stuff.
But
and then you, Lou, were saying how you were loving what plants were at the moment that you thought were particularly nice.
Yeah, the Aquilegias are all out at the minute, and we've got quite a lot of different types. We've not planted any; we're all here before we moved. But we've got blues, pale pinks. There's some really dark purple ones in the secret garden.
There's a lot of hybrids. I did know actually. There's a lot of hybrids with Aquilegia. They can interbreed really easily, so you could have, like, the previous people might not have even planted any here. Someone down the road might have planted one, and it's crossbred with one of ours and made one of these interesting patterns.
And there's these really pretty ones called their petticoat ones that have quite different flowers, and they're really pretty. And I do every year though since we've moved, when the seed heads come and they dry out, I do like shake the seed heads everywhere because they don't come back. Well, they technically don't come back every year, but they self-seed themselves so easily that they do, in a way, come back every year. But the plant does die back, so to speak, I think. Yeah. But yeah, there's loads of varieties.
Aquilegia are a really good one for that, aren't they? Just grabbing them and just shaking them about.
They're technically not a perennial, but they very easily, especially if you give them a little encouragement with the seeds, they will just pop up, but in different places every year, which is nice, isn't it? It's every year's a little bit different, I suppose, to the one before.
Just a lovely time of year. Feels really alive at the moment, and spring is we're right at the end of spring, starting summer, and it feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The bees are really active at the moment, and we've just caught them doing a waggle dance, and we'll put some shots of it in now. And then we'll cut to Lou explaining all about the waggle dance. Boom! So
it wasn't actually a waggle dance we thought the bees were doing. It's what's called an orientation flight. It's essentially, it's always outside the front of the hive, and it's short, zigzagging, looping movements. And it's essentially, it's the bees learning...
You bumble cunt! Yes!
It's the bees learning the location of their hive. Learning their surroundings, the surrounding landmarks, and I think I'm right in saying that obviously when it's when either baby bees are born and they first come out, they've got to navigate their home, so to speak, or just bees that have been in the hive and I suppose not left the hive for a long time, because some of them will just be in the hive for a very long period and have not really ventured outside, but they then have the opportunity to venture outside, at which point they've got to learn where they live.
And in essence, it's exactly what it sounds like on the tin. It's an orientation flight.
Yeah, they're orientating
they're getting their surroundings, so they can, when they go away, they know where to come back.
They know where to come back to.
Which is pretty weird that they could just fly around in like a zigzag, and then that's how they learn how to come back.
Yeah, they do it for a little while,
They're
don't
fascinating
they?
creatures, really.
Yeah, I remember when we very first saw it actually last year. And we were like, what are they doing? And we were like, are they swarming? Are they swarming? And it's funny because you do, yeah, there's different patterns of behaviour that mean completely different things.
And something I think is really cool that Lou was explaining to me as well is the different coloured pollens. We got a few cool shots, didn't we? What's going on here?
It depends what flowers they visit. The pollens are all different colours. I've seen online where you get a frame and every little, what's it called? Each little section of the frame. Is a different colour. It's almost like a rainbow in a way, because depending on what plant they visit, it brings back different colour pollen. But even on their legs, we got some, didn't we? Some of it's really vivid orange, others are yellow, and there's all sorts of colours. It's quite
really cool.
It's fascinating.
Welcome back to Musings of Jim. And in today's, it's a much happier, much more positive subject I am talking about, and that is letting the birds go out to pasture for the first time. It's really fun, it's really nice to watch, they love it, it's cool, they're mischievous, they fumble around, and they're all round just cute. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I've just moved them all into the coop. I'm gonna leave them in there for 48 hours, just in the coop. One, I've got a polecat that took one of my chickens. I was a bit gutted when I found that, but that's not what the Musings of Jim is about. The life and death of animals is just part of it. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with how these are developing. Where we get them from always does us good genetics. We don't lose many. And like I said, when I've lost any was due to that cold patch that I spoke about in last week's Musings of Jim. But they've finally got here, they've finally gone out to pasture. Enjoy the footage of them all coming out and bounding around. The grass is so much longer than them. I find that they absolutely love it. And by the end of the season, they'll have eaten it all anyway. So yeah, boom, I've got turkeys and chickens here as well. Cats. Cats! Hooray! And it's the first time Lou's been in a Musings of Jim. Welcome, Lou. Welcome to my time.
Oh, when did you put that on there?
Magic! I've tested it, it's lucky.
I'll put it, I just don't want it to fall off, I'll put it on my neck.
Okay, the big reveal, are you ready, kids? Hi, Captain! I can't hear you. Right. Be free! Be free!
Aww.
You all just want to come to me, didn't you? So yes, guys, you can see they're all out and about. It's lovely, isn't it? It's this is what it's about, rearing your own food, but making sure it has the best possible life.
Yeah.
And yeah, just so pleased that they're out on grass.
They've got some nice weather as well.
Yeah.
It's nice to know they're going to have a bout of sunshine while they get used to things.
Explore and yeah, all round much more upbeat than previous Musings of Jim. And hope you enjoyed it. So this is the coop that we've been building out of bits of scrap.
For example, we've got my old bed frame and scraps of wood for the ladder.
You've heard us talking about it a bit in the video so far, but I'm going to roll the action shots that we've got of us assembling it. If you're liking the video so far, please remember to give us a like, hit the subscribe, and please leave us a comment. It really helps us with the algorithm and getting the videos out to more people. We really appreciate all the likes and the love. And I've got a chicken on my shoulder. Boom! You stinky prick. And then I'm going to talk about some of the choices we've made now, why we've done what we've done, and yeah, as you saw, it did push very well. We were a bit worried because of the weight of it, but it's been fine. And then we've just got these little bit of wedges of wood. I don't know what it'll be like when the chickens are out. As I mentioned before, they've only just gone in here and they're going to be in there for 48 hours. Now we've got this roof because it's nice and cheap and it does the job. And we've just, yeah, little door for the chickens to get out. Lou will be building the chicken tractor, the ladder at some point. Hello guys. Hey. But yeah, there's ample space in there. A T here for top, so I don't forget what's the top and what's the bottom. I'm not a massive fan of this design, I'll be honest. To be honest, it's just been what has been practical to make sure that they've got a nice life. And it's got to be able to home turkeys as well. And so that's why the door's so big, and we've not gone for hinges or anything, we've just gone for locks. But overall, it's going to do the job. And with this backside, you'll see, and I mentioned briefly, we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 so we remember what they go on. But the purpose of this is just so we can completely take this side off. Like, you can do that all the way down and we'll just have really easy access to clean it, or if we need to get a chicken out or for whatever reason. But overall, it's a lot more practical than the one we had last year. It's nowhere near engineered perfectly or to the best of our ability, but it is just making use of what we had lying about. Almost all the wood, except for these bits, was recycled, so we've just made the most of what we've had about. And yeah, there's ample room in there for the chickens.
So we've had a few projects going on in the garden this week.
Yeah, the garden's just really busy this time of year. There's loads of jobs, but the 3 main ones this week is we needed to get some support for the
Jerusalem
artichoke, which you've done.
I am just about to start making a plant support for our Jerusalem artichoke just behind me in the silver greenhouse. Last year, I just stuck a few rods in the ground, to be quite honest, and I needn't have bothered because they did absolutely nothing. They get very tall. I think they were probably taller than me, and they're quite heavy. So any slight bit of wind just blew them straight over. So I'm trying to build a proper support this year. I've been looking up my lashing and all my knots in the hope that I can build a proper support. So you'll see I've just put my corner 4 posts. I'm going to do a TP shape with those. And I'm then just going to put some horizontal canes across, which will hopefully support them as they come up because they're really vigorous. We only put a couple in last year and they're really quite vigorous. There's loads popped up, so yeah, they're in definite need of support because any slight bit of wind, they're bent over. And then I don't know if it does any damage to the roots actually, but it's messy and it's I do like the look of a nice bamboo plant support, so I thought it'd make these look a little bit pretty. So this is what's called a square lashing knot. I really wanted to, with the trellis, I was trying to find something, a knot in particular, that would make the trellis more sturdy. I did a little bit of research, as you do on YouTube, and this is the main one I came across. It's essentially just supporting the horizontal canes on both sides and then doing what I believe was called frapping knot or something, but it does feel, whilst I haven't finished the trellis so far, it definitely feels more secure. And as with anything, whilst it looks a little bit complicated, by the time you've done it 3 or 4 times, you can kind of, you can do it off of memory, and it's actually, yeah, it feels strong, but it also allows a little bit of movement with the winds, which is what we need.
I've done a support for that. I need a support for the kiwi, and there was, my flowers I need to build supports for.
And then also the flower garden's coming along. You've more or less planted that, haven't you, Nelly?
Kind of.
Yes!
I've got a lot in, I suppose. They're all the perennials that have gone in, but I've still got some more to do. I'm just waiting for them to get a little bit bigger in the pots before I plant them out, just because they're the ones that the slugs can potentially eat if they take a liking to them. So, but I'm getting there. I think I'm over halfway, probably maybe 3/4 of the way.
Yeah.
2/3. So it's just a slog because it's in the sun.
It's like one of these things though. Look, like come summer, it's going to be looking really nice.
I really hope so, and I'm hoping because they're all perennials that they'll just come back next year, and then from really early on it will look really lovely.
Yeah, well, that's because you have this is your perennial bed. So
yeah,
speak,
so this is the hard work
Yeah.
now. The idea is in years to come they should be much easier to maintain because I'm not having to grow everything from seed and plant it all every year. I can just prune, mulch, let them overwinter, and they should just come back, and much earlier as well. So I should start to get blooms earlier. So I've completed a little bit more of the perennial planting in the secret garden. Over to the left here, all along this section, I've planted the majority of my cosmos. We've got these were the plants you saw me planting out before. That is Echinops and Eryngium. I've also just put some sedums here. They're what I found from the garden, and the Shasta daisies along here. As we come more towards the back, I've got some, it's called Aquilegia, I think it's Potamoca ballerina. They come just through here, and then on this row I've got just, I think that was Aquilegia fruit bowl. So they're meant to produce lots of different coloured flowers, pinks, reds, yellows. The other Aquilegia Potamoca ballerina down here, they are like double petalled white flowers. They're a little bit smaller. And then right at the back by the shell here, we have my gooseneck loosestrife, which I'm really excited to see. So we're getting there with the flower beds. I've still got some more to do, but it's nice to get a good chunk of plants in so they can at least start getting their roots in the ground and yes, hopefully give me some flowers. As you can see as well, is I've completely mulched the whole area in grass cuttings. We've got so much spare grass at the minute. We've filled up one of the compost beds, or compost bins rather, completely with grass. So as we continue filling this bed, I'm going to keep mulching it with grass, see how it gets along. So far at the moment it seems to be doing a good job, and I think once we'll see how the slugs go. I've put oyster shell around the plants. I've put organic slug pellets around just to help with the slugs. I think that's it at the moment. That's the main thing I've done, and I don't know if the grass will kind of deter the slugs or whether that gives them somewhere that they'd potentially like to be, but we'll see how it goes. So far, nothing's been munched, and the slugs on the whole, because it's been warm, have been much better, so I'm hopeful for a good year.
And then we've been doing the tomatoes. That has been a bit of a project.
Yes.
And we've got quite a bit of footage for this, so we'll just roll the footage.
Yeah. So we're just going to start planting up our tomatoes. We've got so many tomatoes to plant this year that we're going to use these minimal lick boxes that I used for the dahlias. We've drilled holes in the bottom. We're also going to do a little bit of a test. Banana skins and eggs. So when you plant the tomato, you put a raw whole egg quite deep down, so we'll put this right at the bottom, and banana skin. Now some do an egg, some do banana skin, some do a mixture of both. So we're going to do a little test, put them in groups, and just see if we notice whether they all thrive or whether one particularly thrives more than another. The idea, I believe, with an egg is that it will initially get the calcium from the shell, and then once the shell's broken down, it will get all the nutrients from the actual egg itself. But we'll see, and we'll keep you updated.
So we've put an egg and filled up all of these, and now we've got to go get the kids, so to be continued. So now the next day, and we've moved the tomatoes into the polytunnel. Lou's finishing off the buckets from yesterday, and I am putting them directly into the bed, 4 into each of these beds on the floor. So we've got about an hour to get cracking and try and get as many tomatoes planted as possible. Boom! So after a hot, warm, sticky afternoon.
Sticky, yeah. It's horrible. It's humid, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's moist. We didn't have the storm like we were supposed to have, but it has been muggy, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it looked like it was coming in a few times, but it's not even really come to much rain, has it?
No,
so
we were hoping for the rain, to be honest. We didn't have to do all the water in.
yeah, it could do with the outside could do with some water, couldn't it?
That's 55 tomato plants now planted, 36 in the beds, 5 in the greenhouse, and then the rest are in pots. And we're still going to get some more pots and put on some more. So plenty of tomatoes come October, September. Boom. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure some of you will, but these chicks here were also in the brooder with the chicks we'd hatched ourselves. We've got 10 left, so one of the ones that passed away, when I thought all 3 had been ours, must have been a meat chicken, because there's only 38 of these, and we did lose one early on. But you normally lose one early on for genetic reasons. But yeah, so we've got 10. I think it's 5 males and 5 females, and I filmed me having a look for the first time. In the Musings of Jim, you would have just seen us putting the meat birds out, but that still leaves our own chicks, if you remember, that are in the brooder. So we don't know if they're males or females yet. We haven't tried, so I'm going to pick each one up now, show the camera, and make my guess as to whether they're going to be a cockerel or a hen. So first we have this one, and I am going to say hen. It is a bit hard to tell at the moment. I can't tell definitively, but if I was to guess, because it's all kind of one pattern, I'd definitely say hen. This one is very similar to a pattern with the other one I've just picked up, but there is some slight differences I can see. But I'm going to also say that this one is a hen. Now this one again is another dark one. I'm not sure if you can see that. This one hasn't really got any indication yet, but I'm actually going to think that she's a hen as well. And the reason being is she's got such a short waddle here already, and her feathers look quite rounded, but I'm not sure at the moment, so yeah, I'm going for hen again. Chickens do learn by learned behaviour, and so I think a lot of these feel very fat compared to other chicks I've had in the past. So I think because they've lived with the meat birds, and the meat birds are a bit more gluttonous and they've had to argue for food, so to speak, or more competition, I feel like they are fatter. I'm going to have to put them on a diet, these chicks. But as you can see here, this one is going to be very similar to our darker hens. But again, I'm saying hen to all of these ones. This one here is a right mismatch and very feisty, so I'm going to say cockerel. Boom! This is what I like about having the crossbreeds, is you just don't know. Erin, bind that. You just don't know what they're going to end up looking like. This one, while some people don't like these scruffy chickens, I really like them. Bit imperfect, a bit like real life, isn't they? But yeah, I think that one, I'm going to say cockerel again for that one. And the reason I'm saying that is cockerels tend to have, hens tend to be in one colour, whereas I've noticed cockerels tend to have a few colours. And I think this one's a cockerel as well. You cocksucker! Yes! So I think this one's a cockerel as well. And again, it's just got that different plumage. I could be wrong, but it's also got what, pointier feathers, which tends to be a sign of cockerel. And this one's actually got quite pointy feathers. So this was probably the most confident I've been out of any, but I think this guy is a cockerel. And this is just a crazy looking chicken because it's got the lavendery type marks and the brown. And I'm going to say that I think this one's a cockerel as well. Simply again, back to the pointy feathers, but also I've noticed that in the lemon Brahmas, the cockerels go this more coppery colour. So I'm going to assume this guy's male as well. Boom! For the same reason I said that other one was a cockerel, I'm going to say this one is a cockerel as well. And if you'll notice, his waddle there is very protruded, so that is another early sign that he is a male. And this one again, I'm going to say is a hen. And again, it's because I notice familiar patterns, the small waddle and familiar patterns to other hens. I think I know whose mum this is. So I'm going to say female for that. Boom! Jamming, in the words of Bob Marley. Yeah, but it has been intense. I think we're up to, we pulled 8 kilos the other day in just one day. I think we must be up to 28 kilos, is it?
Oh, I don't know. Are we up to that, do you reckon?
It's been...
It's hard to keep track of,
It's hard to keep track. I mean, we've given kilos and kilos just to the animals.
Yeah.
We were saying that, though, the other day, that it's really lovely, because when you're growing all your own stuff, you get a lot of leftovers, which allow for a really mixed organic diet. Yeah,
it's all the bits that we wouldn't eat, because they're a little bit blemished or, you know, marked, or bits, you know, eaten out of them from other animals. But obviously, you know, it's great for like the chickens. They get real varied bits and pieces of the diet, which is great, and it doesn't cost us anything.
No.
So anything that we don't eat, the animals can eat, and it just saves that little bit of extra on buying feed, doesn't it, throughout the year?
Definitely. We made, for the first time, our first lot of jam. Lou had been waiting for some pectin, is it?
Pectin, yeah. I don't like to put as much sugar as the recipes say. And
Some of the recipes call for crazy amounts of sugar.
And I tried last year to do one with less sugar, but because I didn't have enough sugar, it didn't really thicken. So I managed to find some pectin. So I still put sugar in it, but to be fair, the recipe I looked at, which was on the pectin bottle, was 1 kilo of fruit to 1.4 kilos of sugar. So I halved that, which is what, 750, but actually we said we could have done just 500 grams of sugar
Yeah,
because
I
it's
reckon
still
so.
sweet
It's
enough.
very
It's still
sweet.
seems very sweet still, even for that much.
It was
doesn't
very tasty though.
It was nice.
Let's get into it.
Firstly, it's chopping the strawberries ready to go in the preserving pan.
Yeah, I'm ready with a crying baby. You dropped some on the floor.
Three tablespoons of lemon juice. Now the recipe calls for to 1 kilogram of strawberries. It calls for 1.4 kilograms of sugar, but I try and we'll cut that by half. So I put 750 in, but as you can see, that's still a hell of a lot of sugar. So we give that a stir. So that's lemon, juice, fruit and sugar. Simply give that a stir and then I'll begin to heat that through until the sugar starts to melt. You also need to crush the fruit with a potato masher. I forgot to tell you that. So I'm just going to heat this slowly until the sugar melts, and what I've read is that if it starts to foam, and to prevent it foaming, just add a little knob of butter. So I'm going to give that a go, and then what I'm also going to do, where is it? Excuse me. I'm going to, instead of using the jam sugar, I'm going to try this liquid pectin from Certo, however you call it, for jams, jellies and marmalade. So I believe I'm just following the recipe on the back. I heat it slowly until the sugar has dissolved, add a small knob of butter to reduce the foaming, and then once you've done that, you bring it to a full rolling boil rapidly for 4 minutes, and then you remove from the heat. Add this, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I think the jam is finished. So it is 10 to 9 and I have just finished the jam. I think it's okay. I've only made jam a few times and each time I make it I really struggle to know when it's right. I do the whole put it on a cold plate, test it malarkey. But yeah, hopefully it's okay. It smells lovely. It smells really nice. It tastes really nice. So we'll put it in a jar overnight and see how it comes out in the morning. But I am hopeful it's going to be a good one.
So it's the next morning, Lou's still in bed, the jam's sitting on the side, and I am gonna try it, yes. Yeah. Doesn't make as much as you'd think. 1 kilo of strawberries made 3 pots of jam. So don't go too far, but let's give it a taste test. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh my gosh, that's crazy nice. Whew. Up there on the best jam I've ever had. I'm not just saying that was delicious. Well done, Lou. Yay!
So that is it from us today.
See you in the next one.